Thank you, everybody, for joining us today at Chamber Chat. We are pleased to welcome today Chris Blanchett with the Seattle Film Institute. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, if you would, Chris, just tell us a little bit about the story of the school, how it got started.
Well, it started in 1994, as a matter of fact. So 2019 was our 25th anniversary. Started really primarily as screenwriting classes in the living room of the founder and president, David Schulman, and then grew from there to offer a series of primarily evening continuing education classes in filmmaking, screenwriting, and film history. 1999 was the first full-time program. At that point, it was a certificate program, not credited, but really just a really great delivery system for filmmaking skills, which is really stays the heart of our mission. But just kind of a great example of survival is victory. Just by existing, we started to hit benchmarks where we qualified for student loans, we qualified for VA benefits, then we started qualifying for, first step was really being recognized as a vocational school by the state of Washington. But then, approval by the then Higher Education Coordinating Board, now Student Competitiveness Council of the state, authorized to offer a series of master's degrees and then an undergraduate degree. And then we achieved accreditation. So at this point, in a mere 25 years, we've grown from really starting from part-time classes in a living room. We now, we have a small campus, a 10,000 square foot building in Inner Bay, Magnolia, and but we have a Master of Fine Arts in Filmmaking and Producing. We have a Master of Arts in Producing, a Master of Music and Scoring for Film. Undergraduate degrees in filmmaking, acting for film, digital arts, animation, game design, and audio production and sound design. So,
That's
what we say.
And 25 years, in some ways, that's a long time, but in other ways, to be able to offer that much, that seems like a short amount of time to add that much to your plate. That's impressive.
Yeah, well, it's another cliche, but I mean, it's amazing how little you can get done in a year, but how much you can get done in a decade. You know what I mean? So it's just like the cumulative effect just kind of builds, and a lot of it just, I've been with the school longer than I would have thought I could last. But one of the reasons I've lasted so long is, in a way, it's every 3 years. It's a different environment. It's a different series of issues. It's a different series of challenges. So it keeps you interested. I mean, sometimes too interested, but generally just right, basically. So,
Nice. And what is your role at the school, Chris?
Well, my current title. It's always been, marketing and communications, but now, my formal title is Director of Admissions and Communications. So a lot of counseling with prospective students, letting them know what the school is all about, what the programs are all about, and helping them determine, A, if we're the right school for them, and B, if we are, which of our programs is the best fit for them.
Nice. So in this time of COVID and the pandemic, how has that impacted your school?
Significantly, almost everybody, but so our filmmaking program starts twice a year. There's always a March start, always a September start. We were actually having orientation with the incoming March class the day the shelter-in-place order came down from the governor last March. So, it didn't catch us off guard. We saw it coming, but what it primarily did was really accelerate a lot of development that we already had underway. We were already looking at being able to offer more of our curriculum online and distance learning models and low residency models. So we made a it wasn't easy, but it was fairly seamless transition to getting the content across to our students via Zoom. And so the toughest stretch was March through June, where we literally could not have a student on campus at all. After that, we actually were able to start doing on-ground workshops. So the typical model was get as much information across via Zoom and online, and then have the students come in small groups for the hands-on workshops on site. And that's still the model we're employing. And it's worked really, really well. And what's what's interesting is that, I mean, we were dealing with precisely the challenges that Hollywood was facing. So, and we were, I mean, it's not earth shaking news, but we were coming up with similar solutions. I mean, we were, for our acting program, it was amazing how much good rehearsal could get done via Zoom and then bring them in for specific shoots. And, one of their capstone projects actually was it was a piece called the Laramie Project, which is a series of monologues. So, I mean, there was a lot of creativity used in selection of materials, a lot of creativity used in staging materials. Yeah. So, but no, we are confident that, I mean, beyond confident, we know that we can actually offer a really great educational experience. Even, currently we're still, obviously we're all still, we're still employing the model where our filmmaking students are on ground Mondays and Fridays, and then they're doing Zoom classes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But we've really got it down to a science in terms of bringing in a small group, disinfecting the entire space and all the equipment, bringing in another small group. So wow. It will be, it'll be really interesting when we start to make our way, and I'm not going to jinx anything by making predictions, but when we start making our way, back to something approaching normal.
Right. Right. Well, kudos to you. Well, one last thing I want to ask you in regards to like community projects, what have you or what are you aiming for, local community type thing?
Well, in 29, so what we've all, one thing that we've wanted to do since we got into this building, which was May of 2013, we have we have a nice little theater in our building, and our goal was, I was almost joking at first, but it became more serious, was to start a film festival, a neighborhood film festival, the Interbay Film Festival. And so actually in 2019, December, we actually had the first annual Interbay International Film Festival. And it was well attended and well received. And so we did not do it this year. A lot of film festivals have, virtual screenings, and it just, A, we had a lot going on, right. And B, it just, if we're going to do a film festival, we'd rather have one where people actually can come see the school, see the space. And so, I'm planning to have the second annual in winter of 21, basically. So, I mean, now obviously outer reality has to cooperate, but I think there's a good shot that September things are going to look a lot more like they used to look come September. Again, I might be being incredibly optimistic, but what the heck?
We got to have hope. We're hoping alongside you, so let's dream that dream. So finally, if you would just kind of share with people how they can find you online. And
oh yeah, thank you. So if you have any questions about any of our programs or anything SFI related, actually another community outreach thing is, like, we've hooked up local businesses who are looking to get profiles of video content, whether for their website or their social media, or just if they'd like a corporate profile of a small business with students. I mean, sometimes it's something students will do for a school project, or if it's not a school project, they're well trained and they're breaking into the industry, so it can be a good time to hook up with them. So sfi.edu is our website, and periodically we have periodic informational meetings on all our programs, but we're always happy to set up individual conversations or Zoom chats. Next informational meeting is Saturday, January 23rd at 12 noon, and you can just go reserve a spot if you go to sfi.edu. So sfi.edu is the key to all things SFI, basically.
Right. Awesome. Well, Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to share a little bit about what you're doing there. And again, kudos for all the ways that you've had to adapt this year. Keep up the good work.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate the invite, and I appreciate your forgiveness of, my technical inefficiency today is not representative of the training we give. Let's just put it that way.
Not at all. Thank you, Chris.
All right. Take care, man. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
All right.